Hi, I'm Jeff Furlot. This is Dr. Maswick, and this is Chris Casagrande. Well, that was wrapping it up in a nice little bow.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Happy
Christmas.
Hanukkah. Happy
Thank you
Kwanzaa.
for joining us on our holiday Christmas special. Insert the Christmas music now. I'm going to put little Santa hats on all three of us.
That's good.
That's going to be part of the edit. Welcome back to our channel, Being Human. And today we're going to talk about...
I have no idea, to be honest with you.
I have no idea.
Well, we started to talk about, actually, the end of the last video we mentioned the idea of talking about self-worth.
Self-worth.
Yeah. And it was funny because self-worth, it took me a long time to get that. For the longest time, I called it central sense of value. And I kept struggling because there were so many S's.
Central sense of value.
Yeah. And then somebody said, yeah, I feel worthless. I was like,
Shelley sells seashells by the seashore.
yeah, right. Yeah. And I said, oh, self-worth. Yeah, that's a lot easier.
Yeah.
What is that?
Self-worth?
Yeah.
It always goes to me first. Self-worth. This moment, I can't think of any, so therefore I probably don't have much.
Does it mean that you're better than other people?
Well, I think self-worth can be measured by what other people, or I don't think this is right, but I think that we do measure ourselves against other people to find our place and therefore create our self-worth.
By comparison.
By comparison.
That's kind of where we ended off last week. It's that idea of where value comes from. And the idea that our self-worth is tied into who we are and our title, how much money we make.
Judgments.
Yeah. So it does tie. Well, judgments would create, if you attach yourself too much to it, you'll find your self-worth in the work that you do, who your mate is, how much money you make, where you live,
Titles you embrace.
Titles you embrace.
But Jeff, my job and my family is important to me. So why can't I find my self-worth in that?
Right. Because maybe the answer isn't in the external things. The self-worth should be coming from the internal.
Well, what happens if you lose your job and your wife leaves you?
Well, then you go through that burning period of, I don't know who the hell I am.
Right. You become worthless.
In your eyes, you do.
Right.
And maybe to the rest of the world. Case in point, how much judgment or how much self-worth do the clients that we deal with on a daily basis put upon themselves based on decisions they've made, where they are in life, not having finances? I've heard this a million times. I had it all. Car, house, the toys, snowmobile, motorcycles, nice girl on my arm, kids, great job. I was making a ton of money and I shoved it all up my nose or in my arm. And now I've got nothing left. And so they feel worthless because they've attached things to their self-worth.
Well, there's the lesson.
Right.
Yeah. Isn't it like your greatest loss is your most fertile ground for growth?
Because you have nothing left. So now you can build a new foundation.
So all those things were impermanent.
Yeah.
Right. When we go back 2 talks and talked about attachment. Right. Yeah. When we did this.
Yeah.
Yeah. See.
Yeah. Yes. Attachments.
Yeah.
Let them go.
Yeah. But so the attachments to what your worth is outside of you, right? All that stuff is impermanent.
Is that something that's innate or learned?
Learned.
It has to be learned.
It's got to be, right?
Yeah. I've never met a baby who needed a psychotherapist because they were struggling with self-worth.
Yeah, they don't have any worth issues.
Yep.
I'm worth food. Wham! I'm worth a dry diaper. Wham!
They let you know ahead of time
Yeah.
that this is what I crave.
So what gives you value?
Yeah.
You.
Me personally?
Yeah.
Well, now,
Is your value your ability to be a musician? What if you broke all your fingers?
I have thought of that.
Would you still be valuable?
Well, I wouldn't be a valuable bass player at that point.
But that's not a central value. The
No.
way that you said it specifically
Yeah.
was your value as a bass player, not my value as a human.
No, for that. But see, for me, I've done the work where I believed also that these things define me. And they're set up at an early age where by this time you should have gone to college,
Ugh.
been married. You know what I'm saying?
I do
though,
know what you're
right?
saying, yeah.
So it's a societal kind of thing, and we grow up that way.
Self-worth is alert behavior. Or I've come a long ways on this. I strongly believe it's innate. I strongly believe it's given at birth. I strongly believe that value isn't something that you have to go get. But for most of my life, I saw value in the things I did, in the way that people looked at me, my title. Did people look up to me?
My medical degree.
Yeah, those things created my worth.
Yep.
Did you feel less valuable when you were a truck driver as opposed to a clinical director?
In hindsight, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think so.
Wouldn't it be
I
more the
see.
other way around for me? I didn't feel less value before I moved forward, but once I moved forward, I felt more value.
Felt more value. Yeah.
So at the moment, what you were doing, you were providing for yourself and
Yeah.
the people around
Yeah.
you. You were able to afford to live.
Yep.
And you watched your bank account grow. That's the other one, financial value.
Yep.
And so that becomes stuff, external.
Yep.
And so in the job title, perfect example. And then that becomes what we see as our self-worth.
Right. And then when that thing falls apart,
Hmm.
so does our self-worth.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a relationship, a romantic relationship where your value is the relationship and you got dumped?
Yeah,
Yeah. That's soul crushing,
it is.
where you really should get over it in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, they did me a favor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was soul crushing because your value was invested in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll say it's like building a house on sand. If you make your value my physical beauty and I get caught in a fire, I lose it. Make
Yeah.
my value my ability to be an athlete and I break my back, I lose it.
Right.
Make my value my ability to make money, I lose my job, I lose it. If it's because I'm a good husband and my wife leaves me, I lose it. So if you put it anywhere outside of you, it's never stable.
So it's not. It's constantly moving around.
Yeah, it can always be taken from you. Why would you want a self-value that could be taken from you?
So if your value
That's a
is
good question.
truly innate, it's truly something that can't be taken away or given, something that can't be earned or lost, well, then you've already kind of won the game.
Yeah.
And then if you're up or down in the game of life, it doesn't take on nearly as much meaning.
None of it does.
Yeah, I see that with people here that I had everything and I lost it all
Right.
to my addiction.
Yes.
If you're starting from a place of eternal value, where value isn't something to go get, but it's something that you are, whether you get the stuff back or not, you already start from a place of value.
And there was nothing meaningful to lose.
There wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just a bunch of shit.
And it does take them a little time, but they will get to that place. And then there are those that had everything and then they lost everything. And that's there's something, people are different, but they have this thing where they say, I've got nothing to lose. I'm doing this now. And they've accepted their place of where they are. And they don't see that as a detriment.
The other thing is when our worth comes from stuff or title or relationships,
Or money.
money, we will constantly worry and suffer from the title that we hold. So if my self-worth comes from my job, I'll constantly be worried about losing my job. I'll constantly be looking for evidence that it could be taken away from me.
If it's in my marriage, then I'm constantly worried about that ending.
Yes.
Right.
So
Yeah, because it's
our greatest treasures become our greatest points of suffering.
fragile.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And when this makes me okay, that can be taken away from me.
And this is the golden Buddha story, is it not?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But the question I get then when I get people to a point where I interview them and I get them to a point where they realize that they've at some level embraced a value of worthlessness or I'm a burden or shit or whatever it is. The inevitable question is, how do I fix it?
Mm.
Once my self-worth once I realize that my self-worth is low or less than,
Mhm.
and I realize it's not central, how do I fix that? I give two answers and neither of them are, straightforward. One of them is, you have to unlearn. You have to unlearn what society taught you. You have to unlearn what your parents taught you. Yeah.
It's going to be some magical editing.
Which is a lot harder than actually learning something new.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're unlearning shit that you've believed since you were 8 or 7 or 6 or 5.
Yeah.
And then the other answer I give them is,
and oh, by the way, everybody else already believes.
yeah.
So when you don't look in that direction, you're also isolating yourself from other people who believe that's true.
Right.
And my worth comes from my stuff,
right,
my situation.
Yeah. Other people won't understand that when they're, they'll say, they'll quote it to you. I have a 72-inch screen, flat TV, blah, 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 right? That somehow says that they have more value than you because my TV's bigger than yours.
Yeah. You hear people talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
With their clothes. Younger guys, especially, I've noticed that they can't afford real gold, so they'll buy a watch that appears to be a diamond studded timepiece,
right,
that they got at the corner party shop.
You wear a watch?
I never wear a watch.
Me neither.
Yeah, I don't.
Feels like a nag.
Yeah, and I don't need that.
Yeah, I'm just wondering.
Yeah, I have a phone that actually has a clock on
Who
it.
the fuck does it?
I know. There's a good example.
Yeah.
Our cell phones.
Yeah.
What cell phone do you have? Well, I have the new Apple blah, 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 right? Whatever it is now.
Yeah.
And I'm not an Apple guy. So.
Yeah.
But Apple people are very funny like that. I'm going to make fun of Apple people right now. They are the most arrogant sons of bitches on the planet.
I have an Apple.
You do. Case in point.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a short. Perfect example, though. It's the anybody with their tech guys. They've got to have the latest Apple, the latest iPad, the latest gadget. And if they don't, and literally it's a $700, $800, $900 piece of equipment, personal computer they carry around in their back pocket.
Oh yeah.
Listening device.
I have a Samsung. How much should I judge myself? Yeah.
Well, you're different though, because you're more Buddhist than I am. In a sense that
is Samsung the choice of Buddhists worldwide?
I think so.
I think
a great
so.
commercial.
See the Dalai Lama take out the flip phone.
Yeah. Well, but you could categorize that. I think we could. I've never thought of doing it, but you could categorize the different areas where people find self-worth.
Yeah.
Tech, finances, physical appearance, the attractiveness of my partner.
Physical appearance is a huge one.
Yeah.
I noticed that at the gym where you get it. I'll tell you, I go in. Yeah, exactly. It's like I go into the locker room, right? And so I'm changing. I'm getting ready to go out there, and it's very much young guys. They take their shirt off. They probably weigh $135, $140, and I weigh like 209, right?
Yeah.
And they take off their shirt, and of course they're already shredded because they're 19 years old.
Yeah.
But they're going like this. And they got their phone and they're taking pictures of themselves and they're next to each other. And I'm always in the background changing my clothes. Like, this is a violation that I have to report this. So instead what I do is I make rabbit ears over their heads like this. Or I just point at them.
You go to Planet Fitness, please.
I gotta go. This is a judgment-free zone.
Let me ask this.
Yeah.
This has just occurred to me while we were talking. So let's just say that your self-worth isn't internal and solid, which I think most people struggle with to some degree.
Agreed.
I'm a burden or I'm worthless or whatever.
Yeah.
Then when you start from there, how does a mistake in your life affect you?
Oh, it's devastating.
Yeah.
You already are down here.
Right. So having a low self-worth makes it harder to grow as a human, because in order to grow as a human, you have to make mistakes, right?
Make mistakes, yes.
Yeah. And so instead, then you will seek to avoid making mistakes.
Yeah.
You would, in fact, this would retard you in some ways, wouldn't it? Because you wouldn't seek out new opportunities if there was a risk that you're going to fuck it up. You wouldn't try new shit. You wouldn't get out of your comfort zone.
You stay
Your
stuck.
world would have to get very small for you to not make mistakes.
Right.
And when you identify as the mistake,
well, yeah, this would be proof that I'm worthless, or
Yeah.
proof that, because that's the way we see it, right?
there might be a new job over there, but what if they say no?
Yeah, right.
I couldn't handle that,
And
so I'm not even going to try.
And so what you do is you end up in the river of life, planting your feet in the rough water, and you become exhausted of trying to maintain or hiding away.
Maintain your perfection.
Yes.
To unlearn what you think you know about yourself and find the value that's already in
Yeah.
you. And because it's your journey, I can't tell you how to do that.
Right.
Well, isn't that the journey that we're all on?
Yeah, but when
I
people
mean-
say it, they say, "Oh, this is your journey. This is your
Yeah.
journey." For my whole life, I thought that meant like me going to work and me paying my bills and me having relationships. That's my journey. But no, it's here.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it's once been said the longest journey a man will ever take from here to here. It's
This
like
guy says
12
that.
inches.
Right there.
Yeah. Well, I think
Depends
we
on how tall you are.
Yeah, right.
Would it be fair to say the journey from here to here is from the intellect to the soul?
I think it would be.
I think that would be a perfect
Yep.
description. And that's been known for thousands of years.
Yeah,
That's
but
the
we just
connection.
keep rediscovering it.
Yeah, just
Smaller
saying it in a
ways,
different way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we do.
We just repackage it. That's what we do. We just repackage old shit.
We didn't
It
make
is what
any,
we do. No,
we didn't
we
make
do.
any of this shit up. We just read it
We
somewhere and said
say
this
it differently.
this attaches, and I feel it's good for my self-worth to bring this information
Right.
to you.
So, from my point of view, the way I try to look at it is that your value,
Yeah.
my value, is absolute and eternal. Nobody can give it to you. Nobody can take it away from you. And if that's true, then it's the same for everybody.
Yeah.
So nobody is better than me, and nobody is worse than me.
Right.
And that goes along with the whole concept of oneness quite well.
Christmas time, right? You give a gift to somebody and not expect anything in return. There's a feeling that comes along with that.
Is there any other way to give?
Well, there are people out there, and I've met them over the years, that have given a gift to somebody and then they get pissed off that they didn't even send a thank you card.
Well, I would say they didn't give them anything.
They were giving to take.
They were given the take, which
Yeah.
we have talked about
Yeah.
before. Yeah, giving to take.
Yeah.
So, in the spirit of the holidays, give because it's the right thing to do or it makes you feel good. But that could be considered giving to take as well.
Because you're trying to get something out of
Because
it.
you're trying to get something
Just
out
give.
of it. Or just give.
Yeah.
You know, that's actually a really good thing. I think that's what it's actually supposed to be about before it was hijacked by,
So if you
for
can,
monetary gains.
yeah, if you can, well, that's part of the whole system, right? But if you can
Right.
accept that your worth is absolute and eternal, and everybody else's, then I can forgive me my mistakes,
Mm.
and I can forgive you yours.
Mm.
I can allow people just to be people,
Yeah.
even if it means that they're poor or they're rich or they're tall or they're short or they're fat or they're skinny or they're ugly or they're pretty or whatever.
Right.
Because then none of that matters anymore. And then there's no ranking anybody by it, and I can fuck up and be okay with it, learn
Right.
from it, and grow. As opposed to, I fucked up, this means I'm a piece of shit. Now everybody's gonna hate me and I'm gonna be way down here while everybody up is up here. And I can allow you or my kids or other people that I care about to fuck some stuff up. It's okay.
Yeah.
In fact, I've told people, go out there and fuck some stuff up.
That's how we learn.
Yeah, be okay with it.
But it's tied into your sense of self or self-worth, then if I have a scuff on my shoe, I'm imperfect.
Yeah. It becomes detrimental.
Yeah.
It becomes scary
Yeah.
to try something new. In fact, I will often ask the clients, are you afraid of failure? And everybody always raises their hand, right? And they say, yeah, who's not afraid of failure? I said, no, you're not afraid of failure at all. You're afraid of what you think failure says about you as a human. Because if you were okay with the human being that you are,
Right.
failure wouldn't be anything to be afraid of. It's part of the process.
That's very true.
And when you start from a place of self-worth, when you start from a place where you have value already, well, then it doesn't really matter if you screw something up.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you're up or down.
Doesn't
in the
mean
game
anything.
of life.
Yeah,
Right.
it doesn't take anything away from you as a human.
Right.
No, it doesn't add anything. Success is another.
Right.
Success matters just as little as failure. They're irrelevant. They're just side effects of the ride.
Who says you're successful?
Yeah, you do. Well, this is one of the gurus. I love this. He did this whole thing. He goes, well, would you find yourself successful if you made $200,000 a year? I do this in groups. Sometimes it's fun. And most of the people say, yeah, $200,000 a year.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, right. I said, what if everybody made $200,000 a year? Would you still call that successful? They all say no.
Yeah.
I said, so your definition of success is dependent on other people's lacking.
Yeah.
That is fucked up.
It is fucked up. It's the but it is the way it is.
You're right, but that's what we embrace. That's the system. That's the
Right.
the rank system and everything else.
And
So
the fact that we're talking about it shows that we don't agree with it.
we don't.
But there was a time when we did.
Oh yeah, I was there.
I was. Oh yeah. So if I disliked myself, if you were less than I was, or I considered you less than myself, then my value on myself goes up
Yes,
because
by-
you're losing and I'm winning in my mind.
by pushing you down. Yeah,
By pushing
It's-
you down.
So we're back to overlapping judgment.
Yeah.
which we knew that was going to happen,
Yeah. But well, they kind of go together.
and so does attachment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a series going on here. Very strange. There's connections all through this whole
Yeah,
thing.
they all play off each other.
Yeah, they
So
do.
Your attachments to your physical beauty is partially created by your lack of self-worth.
Yeah.
And maybe all of your attachments have to do with self-worth.
I
And
think
all
so.
of your judgments. If you have value already, there's no need to judge yourself.
True. Or others.
Mm.
If we assume that everybody has the same.
Fact.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a good place to end.
I was thinking the same thing.
That was
Right.
wrapping it up in a nice little bow. So Merry Christmas. Thanks for watching Being Human. And we'll see you again soon.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Little
share.
gift for us. And share. Please
Yeah.
share it with everybody.
Yeah.
If you find it share worthy.
And sorry we're so
Don't worry.
long-winded.
Yeah.
Dude, none of the topics that we talk about are short topics.
No, we're not.
To all of you out there, the YouTube people say, hey, we should do this for 10 or 15 minutes. Nothing that we talk about is a 10 or 15 minute topic. If you can't keep your attention for more than 10 or 15 minutes, you're not going to get
Why are
anything out
you
of it.
yelling at them?
They've
That's
already
not-
turned
that's
it off
not-
if they can't keep
They-
attention.
that's right. They're not.
People are
No
still
one's
watching.
hearing this.
I should have yelled at the beginning.
You should have. What's wrong
Can
with
you
you?
cut that and put it at the beginning?
I could do that. I'll definitely make it into a short.
All right,
In
Merry
the
Christmas.
spirit of holidays, stop telling us how to do shit. Bye. See you later.